Okay, hi everybody. We are going to talk today, continuing along the line of critical thinking, how you go about evaluating sources. And we're going to be using the CRAAP test tool, which we'll talk about in a minute, and we'll be applying that to fracking case study, which relates to what you're doing in your buy-side text right now with the chapters on water and then the other chapter on energy. Just a quick review, the things we've been sharing with you, strategies and tools to help you think critically. We're using the Paul and Elder framework for critical thinking. You already know those elements of thought, so whenever we're thinking about anything, these are the ways in which thought can happen. And we use strategies like, for example, in the concepts, we've used the CI, index cards, and the almost but not quite strategy to help you think more deeply about concepts. And then we talked about point of view, which is your frame of reference, and we used the identity wheel, which looked at all the different ways that we develop how we think and our points of view about certain subjects and how those can bias the way we think, but we can also understand another's point of view and how they come to any point of view based on very complex aspects of their upbringing and culture. All those things come into play. We looked at questioning, and we used Socratic questioning and reader response to get at different ways to problem solve and think about questions. And today we're going to now look at the piece of thinking that has to do with information as well as implications and consequences, and we're using the CRAAP test to do that, to evaluate and say if we're going to think critically about the information that comes in front of us, how can we do that in a critical way? And so one of the goals besides critical thinking is to help you get to have an informed opinion, which is helpful in your writing, to bring not just your opinion about things, but an informed opinion into your writing or your thinking or your discussion. So informed opinion is more than opinion. We'll talk about that in greater detail in a minute. And then when you get to that place, that's where you bring more value to the discussion when you're bringing an informed opinion to that. So go ahead and pause the recording for a minute, and what I'd like you to do is bring up the handout on fact, opinion, and bias, and I'd like you to read through this handout, which is just short, one and a little bit more than a page, and look at the definition for between facts, opinions, informed opinions, and bias. And then on this handout, I'd like you to fill in those definitions, and then we'll go from there, filling in some of these questions as we go. So bring up the handout now on the CRAAP test, which was developed by California State University Chico campus, and really just stands for these 5 elements that you can use to evaluate any information source. So those 5 elements are currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. So you should pause the recording for a minute and look at the definitions of each or what they have to do with, and then there's a further explanation beneath each one. So for example, if I'm using some information that I find on a website, and maybe my paper is about current technology, and I noticed that the date that the article was written was 1996, perhaps I'm going to say, well, this article is not current enough, it's not timely enough for me to use it in a paper I'm writing on technology, because we know technology changes all the time. Now, on the other hand, if it's about solving math problems, math doesn't change as often as technology does, and so there could be a case where something written in 1996 is still very current and also very relevant. So you have to think about the context, and you have to think about these criteria, and we're going to do those one at a time. by going out to different websites and using those to evaluate the sources based on these 5 things. So take a minute to read through those and then we'll continue. So let's practice. So you're going to go out to each one of these websites one at a time, and I want you to imagine that you're writing a paper about animal science. And the paper you're writing is for your professor, for a group of professors, not for the general public. So it's an academic research paper that you're writing. So let's go out to this first one and let's start to use the CRAAPT test to see if these are sources that we would want to use in our paper. So here's an example of a journal, scholarly journal. This is from Science Direct. I know that it's a scholarly journal because I'm familiar with that journal. And I did a search for animal science, and this is the first journal that came up. And I thought, well, okay, that's good. That's certainly has authority. It's written by professors. I know it's a peer-reviewed journal. You could also do a little more reading about that to find out, but imagine that we got to this through the scholarly journals part of the library website. So I know it's a good journal, and that the fact that it's peer reviewed means that other professors have had to read it before the papers get accepted. So I know that it's also should be very accurate. The purpose is certainly scholarly, so that all fits. It's relevant. Perhaps some of these articles are relevant to our needs. I'm not sure, though. If I just want a general article on animal science, these look a little bit technical. So I don't think they're really relevant to what it is I'm looking for. But my main concern is up here at the top, Volume 9, Issue 2, August of 1983. So is that current? Is it very timely? I don't think so. And in the sciences, as we said, that's pretty important. So I may want to search something up here in the 2013 range rather than down here in the earlier stages of that journal. So here's our second link, How Animal Camouflage Works. And it's from a website called How Stuff Works, which is a Discovery Channel company. So I'm kind of just looking around on the website to find out where's this information coming from. And there's a video. This looks very popular in terms of the type of article that it is. And so while there may be some interesting tidbits here, an academic paper for professors, I'm not so sure if that's going to be relevant in terms of the kinds of resources that the professors will be looking for. So it could still be very accurate. And I don't see an author here. Oh, here it is, Tom Harris. Let's see who Tom is. If I click on that, here he is. He holds a BA in English from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I'm going to say, if this is about animal science, Tom may be a very good writer as an English major, but he may not be the most accurate in terms of, talking about science content. In that case, it might be better for us to go back to our scholarly journals. Okay, so here's our third, Wikipedia, which, truth be told, I would say probably a majority of even professors, if they're looking for something new, may start at Wikipedia as a starting point to get some general information about a topic, just like we used to go into the old encyclopedia. But Wikipedia is a real issue because we can't really tell who put this information in here. And so the CRAAPT test becomes very important to say, to ask those questions about authority, where it's the source of the information. And so can we, verify the author's credentials? Are they an expert in the field? And if we can't, then we can't really determine the accuracy. Is this information correct? And while the purpose of the information in Wikipedia is to inform, those two areas of authority and accuracy mean we need to stop. This may be a good place to start. We're not going to want to use this as a source in our paper, but it can be just good general background information that we then want to double check on with other sources. So if you see something here that you're interested in, or you think, okay, I really like that, then you need to go into the scholarly journals and make sure that you can corroborate what you see there. Okay, so here's the fourth link, and I'll say, all right, if we're talking about animal science, this is from the University of California at Davis. It's their Center for Animal Welfare. I can go into the About Us section, look at their mission statement and their objectives, the kinds of research that they do, and the people involved. So here we can see their credentials. We have people with doctorates, PhDs in animal science. So I feel that in terms of authority and accuracy, we can be pretty confident about the information that we'd find here. The purpose seems to be informational rather than trying to convince us or sell us something. It's certainly relevant in their research. So we can, we may be able to drill down and narrow down our topic a little bit. And it looks like, if I'm looking for a date here for currency, so I don't really see a date on the web page for when it was last updated. So I would still want to double check and make sure this wasn't just an old website someplace that we got to by chance in a search. That would be the only thing I would check. But I'd say, of those 5 sources, the one that we probably can feel most confident about using certainly would be the one from the university or from a more recent journal entry of that scholarly journal.